Random thoughts. In this video, we are going to read part of Ibn Battuta's book, The Travels of Ibn Battuta, which covers his travels that happened between 1325 and 1354. And we are going to read a part of this book where he talks about the foods that he was offered when he was in Mogadishu. Now, in the previous video, I talked about him being taken by the Qadi to the Sultan and then being given a place where he was going to stay, which was a building for religious scholars and people like that. That's where they would be taken to stay. Now he's in that place. Now we need to look at, or he writes about the foods that he was offered in Mogadishu. And he writes, later on, the serving boy brought food from the sheikh's house. With him came one of his viziers, who was responsible for the care of the guests, and who said, "Our master greets you and says to you that you are heartily welcome." So a message is brought from the Sultan, and Ibn Battuta is told the Sheikh is saying that you are welcome, and of course he wants you to be taken care of. He then set down the food and we ate. Their food is rice cooked with ghee, which they put into a large wooden platter, and on top of this they set platters of kusha. And he says this is the seasoning made of chicken, flesh meat, fish, and vegetables. So that's what was brought. The cushion is that. It's a mixture of that. They cook and ripe bananas in fresh milk and put this in one dish. I've eaten cooked and ripe bananas, cooked with, of course, boiled in water and maybe oil and things like that. But what I've never eaten is unripe bananas that are cooked in milk. I don't know how that tastes. I don't know whether it's still a thing in Somalia or Mogadishu today that you'll go into a household and you'll be served bananas that are cooked in milk. That must be a very interesting kind of food. And in another dish, they put curdled milk on which they place pieces of pickled lemon, bunches of pickled pepper steeped in vinegar and salted, green ginger, and mangoes. These resemble apples but have a stone. When ripe, they are exceedingly sweet and are eaten like other fruit, but before ripening, they are acid like lemons. And they pickle them in vinegar. So it tells us about the fruits that they offered him. When they take mouthful of rice, they eat some of these salted and vinegar conserves after it. So what he was given after, or what is described before, he says when people eat rice, then they eat it after that. A single person of the people of Mogadishu eats as much as a whole company of us will eat. So it seems, according to him, the people of Mogadishu had a good appetite. They will eat. And he says, as a matter of habit, and they are corpulent and fat in the extreme. So it seems like the people of Mogadishu were big people because they ate a lot. They seem to have had a good appetite. That's at least according to Ibn Battuta. So yeah, so that's the food. He tells us he was served in Mogadishu maybe in the year 1330 because he left Tangier in the year 1325 and he went to Egypt, then he went to Mecca and Medina, and then he went to Persia, and then he goes to Yemen, to Zayla, and then he's now in Mogadishu. So maybe 1 or 2 years had gone by because this was time that when movement was very slow, not like today. So that's what he got during that time in terms of food. Those are my random thoughts.